Hello friends, it's your 9 to 5 buddy Oscar. Welcome to another edition of Building Wealth Through Your 9 to 5. I know the whole idea of investment is good, savings is good, trading stocks and all that is good. Great, that's something we advise, and that's something I advise. But there's something I want to quickly look at. Protection before building wealth. Yes, before you start building wealth, you have to protect yourself. That's very essential. Why? Just take a look at this as I draw the pyramid of wealth building, and then from there we analyze why it is essential for you to protect yourself first before building wealth. You know, in life happens, no doubt. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are. Now, this is how it is, and this is my reason for saying this. If you start by just making your savings, doing your investment, trading your stocks, yes, possibly you will definitely be earning something, because to every labor there is a reward. But there's something here. Look at it this other way, why you should protect before building. In the pyramid of wealth building, at the very beginning, you should have your protection. And as I begin to explain why you should have your protection first, you will see why it is essential that you should protect before building. One, when you protect yourself, which is the first part of building wealth, you protect yourself through a well-structured life insurance. And I intentionally always use that word, well-structured, because when your protection is well-structured, inside this your protection, you have critical illness, you have disability rider, and then you have accident rider. Now, if you have this disability, accident, and critical illness rider inside your well-structured life insurance, that definitely must be a high yield, high yield cash value. That means it must be growing cash value on its own. Then you have these three major riders inside of it: critical illness, disability. Should the case a challenge of life happens that leads to it, or there's a critical illness, or there's an accident that makes you unable to go to work for some time, or there's a disability that maybe one, either for a period of time or even permanently, one loses the use of any part of one's body, the payout, the claim from here will be the funds that will take care of those expenses, instead of going straight to your savings and your investments and depleting them in order to treat yourself or heal yourself or to sustain for the period of time that you are not able to go to work. But the claims from this disability or accident or critical illness rider will be what you will use to sustain yourself within that period of time. Now, after you have put protection in place, remember the cash value is still growing even after you have gotten your claim from this. Then the next thing you should do is debt management. Debt management. I just shortened this. Debt management. You have protected yourself before your debt management. Remember, you are a 9 to 5 worker, you are still working, you are gaining your income, which is from where you are getting what you are using for this, the premium they are using for this. Then you are still working, you continue to pay your debt. Also, start from the high interest debts as you continue to pay, and you are still working. So from your work, you are taking money to pay for this. Then look at why protection is essential. If something should happen, if like maybe an accident happens, a disability happens, or even a job loss happens, instead of you to suddenly go into your savings or your investments and begin to look for money from there to pay your debt, you take from the cash value here to begin to pay your debt. Why? Because cash value has grown over time inside your protection. You see the essence? Inside your protection, the cash value that has grown, from there you can take from it and begin to pay off your debt. That is why protection comes at one of the reasons protection comes at the beginning. And if there's a job loss or anything, the cash value from here also will be used to sustain yourself and also to pay out that debt. Then after you have paid, after paying off your debt, the next thing you do after you have paid up your debt, is build emergency fund. Analysts or statistics will say you should try to have between 3 to 6 months of emergency fund, which means something to sustain you, to keep you and your home for 3 to 6 months, so that in case there's a job loss or there's an incident of life that happens. Now, if you have succeeded in paying your debt, then you begin to build this from your work. All this while you are still working. That's why I say I'm not part of those that says throw away your 9 to 5, except maybe your business has built up, you're in business and your business has built up to that. It will naturally knock it off. Not suddenly forget about your 9 to 5. No. You're building this emergency fund from your 9 to 5. But if something should also happens, an emergency of life happens, and there's no more job at that time, maybe job loss or whatever, the cash value that has grown from here, from there, that can serve you as emergency funds. And if it's an incident or issue of life that happens, there is that emergency, maybe a critical illness or a disability or even an accident, the claim from this protection will go ahead to become your emergency fund. Now, after you have taken care of your protection, you manage your debt, you have your emergency fund, then now you come into the era of investments. You see the progression. If you have succeeded in having a protection, you have settled your debts, then you have emergency fund, then now you can begin to invest. Why? Because at this time, there's nothing that is going to pull down your investment. Because you have a good foundation right here. You have created a good foundation. Now from your investments, you can diversify your investments, and you make sure that your investment is in a place of high yield, compound interest, so that you benefit from compound interest. And then you have it in a bucket that where your money is also protected. It grows tax-free and is protected from probate, so that should anything happens in life, your money is protected from probate because you have beneficiaries that this money will transfer to cash-free. Friends, this is the reason why, when you are building wealth, you need protection first, because you see the progression of how these riders inside your protection and can help all these other channels. So now you have invested, and then you have your legacy building, legacy